Hello, everyone. I'm Ahad Ahmed, and today I'm exploring a question that's central to how many people learn Arabic grammar. Does memorizing conjugation tables actually help students apply grammar in meaningful ways, or is there a smarter, more brain friendly way to teach and learn it? We'll take a look at what cognitive science says and how we can use that to improve instruction. So let's start with what this looks like in a typical Arabic class. Students often begin by memorizing a chart, one verb, like, as an example, fa'ala, which means that he did, conjugated across all the different pronouns. And so the student would go by um, each verb form and say that he did, fa'ala, he did, those two men did, they did, she did, and so on and so forth. And so it's very structured and it feels productive, almost like memorizing multiplication tables. But the question is, does this kind of memorization lead to real usable grammar knowledge? Can students take what they've memorized and actually use it in reading, writing, or conversation? To answer this question, it's important to look at the cognitive studies that have been done on grammar memorization of grammatical rules, verb tables, and so on in different languages, and see if we could use the research uh, to we can apply that research into our setting. So the research in cognitive science gives us some pretty clear insights. First, memorization isn't completely useless, and actually, it's not useless at all. It activates what's called procedural memory, the kind that helps us do things automatically, like typing or riding a bike. So, memorizing patterns, like conjugation tables, can help students internalize the structure of the knowledge. But that's just the beginning. Studies by Suzuki and De Keyser show that if we revisit material after a delay, called the lag effect, we're more likely to remember it long term. Other studies emphasize retrieval practice, so trying to recall something from memory rather than just reviewing it, and interleaving, which is a mixing of different topics or types of problems that can also deepen knowledge. So all these practices have something in common. They create what psychologists call desirable difficulties. They make learning a little bit harder, but that challenge is exactly what helps information stick and transfer to real world use. Essentially, it involves or it increases encoding or deepens encoding, which is better for recall. So, how do we apply all of this to our context and our research question, which was centered around the traditional Arabic classroom that uses conjugation tables? So, first things first, it helps to recognize that rote memorization has value. The studies prove this, and it lays a foundation. Repetition builds procedural fluency, especially in a language like Arabic, where morphology is highly regular, meaning it's consistent and pattern based. We can take it a little bit further. We can say that we could uh, we could make improvements. We could acknowledge that there is merit to the traditional way of learning. However, we can also acknowledge that the research literature clearly shows that there are ways that we could improve instruction. One way to do that is to make the practice more iterative. And so what I mean by that is, instead of going through all the forms of a verb in one session and moving on, we space them out over time and maybe use flashcards or technology apps, different types of apps to do that, to create a schedule for learning. This activates the lag effect and strengthens retention. Another possible upgrade is to increase the challenge. For example, instead of just listing verb forms and have students include a subject with the verb form. And so as the conjugation changes or as the verb changes, we're changing subjects as well. So they have to do both. And perhaps a step further would be to have them use the verb in a full sentence and change the verb according to the subject. It's a small tweak, but it makes retrieval harder and more meaningful. And the studies seem to indicate that this would boost transfer to reading, writing, and speaking as well. So to summarize, we I would say that we don't have to throw out memorization. We just need to wrap it in better practice. There's still a lot that we could explore here. Today, what we discussed was mostly theoretical. Uh, we could conduct further research and use different case studies, create an experiment, and really explore the effectiveness of these procedures and perhaps develop better ones and examine our results. These were the key studies that informed this presentation, and they offer a solid bridge between research in cognitive science and the classroom. If anyone is interested in learning how people learn grammar and the benefit of memorization and transfer and all the things, different cognitive subjects that we spoke about today, these are excellent resources.